I go through a series of questions that I ask them as we put together the strategic plan for them. And it's usually a 2 to 4 year strat plan. And the most important thing for them is I say, okay, if you were to envision, where do you see your product? Where is ultimately your goal? If it's truly a food item, they may want to start with, grocery, and then it can either be the Whole Foods Sprouts side of it, or it could be traditional grocery. And then even on the traditional grocery, I help steer them to what the right retailers within food is.
Hi, Catherine. Good morning. How are you?
Hi there. Good morning. I'm great. Thanks. How are you?
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining in, and good to see you. Thanks.
Good to see you too.
Hi viewers, good morning. Welcome to the new episode of Sustainable Future Food Talk. Today we have with us Catherine from the United States. Catherine is the founder of ACV Partners LLC, a sales and marketing company founded in 2015. Catherine is a sales and marketing leader with a demonstrated track record of developing and delivering high growth strategies for companies to maximize market potential in the retail space. Throughout her career, Catherine has consistently identified sales channels for billion-dollar corporations such as P&G and PepsiCo. A self-starter with entrepreneurial drive, she's equally skilled in quickly scaling product-based startups and helping brands expand distribution in new markets. With expertise in packaged goods, Catherine has developed strong partnerships with national retailers such as Walmart, Target, Publix, Sam's Club, Kroger, and others. Her marketing ethos frequently take her out of the office and into retailers where she aligns retailers' needs and brand strategies to deliver results. Catherine holds a bachelor's degree in finance and marketing from Northeastern University and master's in business administration from Boston College. So Catherine, great background and really appreciate your time this morning.
Thank you. It's funny to hear that, but it really is just a glimpse of the last 30 plus years in this business. And it's just funny to hear it, but yeah, thank you. Nice to be here.
Yeah, awesome. So, a quick introduction, if you can give about, ACV Partners to our viewers and, how can you help CPG brands to grow in the US?
Okay. Thank you. Well, ACV Partners is a company that I started back in 2015. I was dipping my toes a little bit into the, consulting side of the business, because the last 25 plus years in this business, I have always worked for pretty major corporations. Like you said, I started my career with Procter Gamble. I was with PepsiCo and a few other pretty major, Campbell's Soup, and a few other major CPG companies. And I was in a variety of functions, starting with sales, carrying the bag with a territory way back when we used to have retail territories. But I really got to know the business from the ground up, carrying the bag, business development, key account management. I've done I was in HR and I did sales training, and I used to train all of our salespeople and category managers on sales analytics, presentation skills, all of that, and a lot of trade marketing. I was a team of one or two to build the business and then grow it from pure startup, like $3 million with one retailer, to 20 plus retailers, close to $40 million in 3 years. Wow. And what we did there was we built a brand and then ultimately sold it, which was the objective, right? And so I was able to do the work of a lot of different roles or departments as a team of 1 and 2, grew it to a team of 6 because we ultimately got the business and grew the business. And I got really a taste of that entrepreneurial side of the business, as well as helping brands. Like I said, in this case, I was working directly for the CEO and really growing his business. So I was his right-hand person, and I really enjoyed it. And then it became a time where we sold the company, and I was not really able to relocate at that time for personal reasons. Oh. My children, who had moved around with me throughout my career, were now in high school. Yeah. And so I had this just epiphany, I guess, that said, you know what, now is the time to do this. Yeah. For personal reasons, I needed to stay locally. And then also for professional reasons, it was the time, and the two came together versus moving to Bentonville or California to do another similar job. And so I rolled up my sleeves, used my network of almost 30 years at the time, and have really been helping brands for the last 7 years do what I did with that one company that ultimately moved me. My kids are now grown and in college, so I could move anywhere really. Yeah. And I'm really just helping brands because I've got the experience that if they were to hire someone full-time to do that work, it would be in many cases cost prohibitive for them to do that. So I really do help them in that critical time where they've got a great idea, a great concept, and they just need help with putting together the strat plan, putting together the go-to-market strategy, putting together the trade marketing activation, the presentations, getting up logistics, all of that would, in the bigger companies was a team of 100 employees, making, 6 figures, well into the 6 figures per person. So, that's tremendous budgets that a brand, a startup brand can't really handle. And so I've really found a nice niche in the market, and we're getting results. And so it's been wonderful.
Awesome. So, Catherine, being a retail CPG expert, what advice do you have for the young brands to decide as to which stores should they really, launch the products with?
That's a great question. And I always, when brands are, just doing some direct to consumer and they're ready to hit the retail side of it, I go through a series of questions that I ask them as we put together the strategic plan for them. And it's usually a 2 to 4 year strat plan. And the most important thing for them is I say, okay, if you were to envision, where do you see your product? Where is ultimately your goal? And it's answering that question. If it says, oh, my goal is Target, my goal is CVS, my goal is Whole Foods, and then Target, or, whatever that happens to be, it's where do they see it first?
Sure.
And the reason is that I want to understand through their lens. They know who's been buying the product right now. Their heart and soul has been put into this particular product, and they have a vision for what that is. And so I want to try to work with that vision versus defining a new vision. We can fine tune it, and someone might say, oh, I want to be in Target. And then I say, okay, well, so then I know the Target questions to ask and the Target key things to check off. And the same would hold true with Whole Foods or Walmart. If it's truly a food item, they may want to start with, grocery, and then it can either be the Whole Foods Sprouts side of it, or it could be traditional grocery. And then even on the traditional grocery, I help steer them to what the right retailers within food is. And so in starting with the founder, it's really where do they want to be? And I help them craft that action plan to get where they want to be, because it's their dream, their vision. It may need, and sometimes they might not have any idea.
Sure. Yeah.
And that's sort of part 2. It's okay, so who's buying it now? I understand the demographics across several of our different retail channels. And so if I can help them identify who's buying it now based on the direct-to-consumer feedback in Instagram or social, we can then craft what that strat plan or go-to-market strategy is for them based on current purchasers. And it could be price point. And there's lots of things that would then feed into it. If they're a higher price, premium price, then, going into the Dollar Channel, Dollar General, is not their first step. And that's just a very extreme example, but it really starts with the founder and crafting. They know about their brand and their consumer. And then when I know about the retail landscape and our shoppers by channel, by outlet within that channel, and really marrying the two.
Okay, got it. Interesting. Yeah. Coming down to my next question. So, at what points should the new CPG brands consider while competing with global brands in North America, especially?
It's a combination. It's a U.S. marketplace. I was in Dubai, and I was in a couple of times in Dubai. I was in trained an Italian group of 50 entrepreneurs from Italy a couple of years ago. And so the U.S. is this big objective, right? And that's because we have so many consumers and there's lots of dollars to spend on new brands. Our consumers like to explore new brands. And so the advice that I give them is to really find the right partners in the US or in North America to work with, such as myself and my team. And I say that because there's lots of folks that might be able to promise something and overpromise, underdeliver. And so you really have to find the right partner in the marketplace that truly is the expert. Founders that are, international brands, global brands, but they may not be in North America. They are right in trying to come to North America because our consumers are spending dollars. All of those things make it a great place to be. But if you don't have the right partner and you don't have the right plan, you will fail. Okay. You will fail. And I've had brands that have failed because they were short-sighted on some of the action plans and some of the recommendations. And frankly, it became a waste of their dollars. So you have to really, one, be willing to really jump in and have the right plan together, the right partner together, the right partner in place, because we get on investor calls with our brand partners. And so we put together the go-to-market strategy and the action plan for the US. And we know that we're putting it together because we know we can then execute that plan. And if someone were to say, oh, no, we've got it all, just we need you to go help us with this, it's not going to work because it's not a one size fits all here in the US. Yeah. And it really is tailor-made. And so the best advice would be find the right partner that's delivered and that really has skin in the game into some degree, whether it's, some equity, it's some bonuses, really key deliverables and actions that you must meet, and find the right partner and have a very, the other thing would be have a very manage your expectations, right? It's not going to happen in 6 months, which is why it's usually a couple of years in terms of what the plan looks like. And it's really, those are the key things.
Okay. That's really helpful, because these are those basic points which a brand really struggles with. So, these will be really important.
Well, it is. And I think what you're doing with your, share group is right. And it's good to have, peers and folks that can sort of chime in, share things. There's absolutely it's the way to go. But it's not just sharing ideas, but it's actually taking those in and then actioning them.
Yes.
And then the other advice that I also tell my founders, and I had this call with someone that I got into Walmart and I got into CVS within the last, not even year, which is huge, right? Even over COVID with Zoom meetings. And she's struggling a bit with a lot. There's more than what she was direct to consumer, had a nice business, great business, direct to consumer. And of course, we put the right story together for her to get into 2 major retailers so far. But she's struggling with a lot of the other work that was in the plan that she wasn't quite ready for. And I say that meaning like handling deductions, handling, short ships or whatever, some of the things that happen once you get into some of these major retailers compared to being a direct to consumer. And I said, I'm like, time out. I'm like, you can't do everything. You hired me and our team to do all of your sales and marketing for you, sales really in that case. And you're so good at this, and this. You need to do what you're good at and continue to find the right people that are good at what they do. Because when you're really good at something, you'll be great at it. You'll be amazing at it. And if you're just okay and you're struggling with it, it's just human nature. And so I say that as also advice is like, do what you're good at and what you're great at, because that will get you to where you need to be. And so it might be finding someone to help you with chasing deductions or whatever it happens to be. Like once you get sold in, like that's part B of the work. And you as a founder, do what you're supposed to be doing and continuing to tell your story and continuing to do that, because that will get you where you want to be. And I've given that advice to a couple of founders within the last, I think I might have even said that to you, within the last month or so. And it's really just hire the right people to do what they're good at, great at, and you'll get the great results. And you keep doing what you're supposed to be good at. You're still part of it. As a founder, you are part of everything, right?
Absolutely.
But as a leader, you have to let others do their work.
That has to be delegated. Yeah. That has to be.
So that's really the advice that I try to, and it's not easy. It's not easy to do. baby. It's been their project. And then of course there's investors to report into. And that's why I'll hop on an investor call. And it's really to speak it for the founder. Of course, I had a pre-meeting yesterday for the call that I have on Sunday morning. And it was just making sure that my bullet points, my talking points are okay with the founder versus just speaking out of, yeah. And that's the way it works. It's a partnership.
Absolutely. Coming down to my next question. So, if I were to ask you your, say, 2 goals, so what would they be? Maybe personal, professional, whatever you're comfortable with.
From a professional goal for at least this year, it's really to continue to drive results for the brands that we have successfully sold in. There's a couple of lines that are doing really, really well. I would say things slowed down a bit in this business in 2020, and 2021 was outstanding. And 2022, now that things have opened back up, is also proving to be quite the year. So it's really professionally continue to grow and nurture the brands, because getting a brand sold into a retailer is really only part one of the it really is. The hard. That's actually, it's people ask me what's easier, what's not. So I don't know what's easier. I think actually selling it in sometimes is easier than actually growing it and keeping it in there. So professionally, it's really to drive the results for my brands that we've gotten into some major retailers, Publix, Walmart, CVS, Walgreens. And so we want to continue to grow those brands this year. And then also the other personal/professional one is getting back out into the marketplace. It's been great to be on Zoom. So thank goodness, right? For the last couple of years. And frankly, I've sold lots of products in through Zoom where we mail the samples. But professionally, I want to really make sure that I'm back out there with my brand partners. So we're doing retail visits again. We're back to in-person meetings. And so really take advantage of that, because it's really feeling good. In 30 plus days, I had 3 shows for 3 different lines. And it was so nice to be back out with customers, with other brands, with my founders. And so I really want to personally get out there and travel more, get into some of the markets that I haven't been into since before COVID, because we're just not traveling. And I feel a little bit out of it. I mean, there's retailers that I'm selling to right now, for example, in the Midwest, Meijer, Fresh Time, great retailers. And I haven't been I've been in a Fresh Time because I was there for personal reasons, but I haven't been in a Meijer since before the lockdown. And it's horrible, and I know the stores. And there's nothing like, especially when you have a passion for retail, there's nothing like being in the stores, seeing your product in the stores, talking to the people that are selling it, talking to the consumers that are buying it. So that's sort of another professional goal, but it's really a personal one because it takes time to do that. But it's just so much fun. It's just so much fun. And then personal. Then the other personal is just back to trying to be back enjoying, continue to enjoy our Florida sun that we have, and my family. So of course, that's always high on the list.
Absolutely. Yeah. Coming down to my last question for this session. So you being yourself a yogi, how has yoga helped you, both personally and professionally?
Yoga personally has been great. It strengthens me. I've got a back injury that I think I shared this with you. Yoga seems to help in terms of just the stretching, the core work. I'm still in lots of pain, but yoga really is helpful from trying to really improve just my everyday, how I feel that way for sure. And then also it's just spiritually, it just feels so good. Even if I'm just laying there on the mat doing like a downward dog, it's just feels so good just to be laying there. Or even the 15, 20 minutes at the end where you're just laying there, and, sometimes they're putting herbal oils on, and it just feels so good to just calm and stop. And I guess spiritually, or just for me to calm down, I move pretty fast, and just the time on the mat is just very, very nice to slow down But it's the both. It's trying to improve my back and just, and take time for myself. But yeah, it feels good. And I shared that with you. I was like, gosh, my back injury prevented me. And I was like, gosh, why don't I just try to do some of the work? It's not as if I've got to go do what I used to do, but really go in and just, get on the mat and try to just stretch and improve my core. That will hopefully let me live with this. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Catherine. These responses were super awesome, and I'm sure these will be helpful for the young brands who wish to now get into, the US market and North American market. So really appreciate your time once again, and thank you so much once.
Thank you so much. If anyone has questions, they can send an inquiry on my website. Sure. And absolutely, we're willing to try to see what we can do to help other brands.
Perfect. That sounds awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Have a great day ahead.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.